Hello, I'm Matt Barbet. Welcome to the historic city of Lincoln, hosting this year's British Cycling National Road Championships. Just a year and a few months later than originally planned. I'm sure you realise why. But coming up, we've got highlights of the women's and men's national circuit race. First, though, a whole host of new time trial champions have been crowned. Let's take a look. Taking place in the picturesque village of Tealby in Lincolnshire, the riders were treated to a challenging course and over 500 feet of climbing on each lap, as the county welcomed back the national championships for the first time since 2015. The day kicked off with the under-23 titles, which saw strong rides by Leo Hayter and Anna Shackley. Leo, brother of the barnstorming Ethan Hayter, put in a great ride to seal the under-23 men's crown, almost a full minute clear of the rest. Along with that ride came his first ever national champion's jersey. In the women's under-23 TT, it was Anna Shackley who was the standout performer, setting a blistering pace to post a time 1 minute 34 seconds clear of the field, capping off a fantastic first year as a pro rider. The elite men saw a four-way battle for the top spot between James Shaw, British hour record holder Dan Bigham, Fred Wright and Ethan Hayter. It was always going to be hard to beat Hayter after a brilliant Tour of Britain and an 8th place finish in the UCI Road World Championships. And throughout the twists and turns of Tealby, he duly delivered.
And here comes Ethan Hayter of the Ineos Grenadiers, thundering down the finishing straight to take the fastest time of the day.
Hayter managed to top the timesheets by 38 seconds over James Shaw and Dan Bigham, sending out a clear message to the elite men's field there was more to come.
To execute a nice time, you know, I knew I was kind of capable of it after being top 10 in the world, but to pull it off on the day and then to have this jersey and be able to wear it in Europe next year and represent GB in every time trial is going to be great.
The women's elite time trial followed, and again it wasn't short of action. A fantastic ride from Leah Dixon set the bar very high, before Team Jumbo-Visma's Anna Henderson stole the show.
And Henderson into the last few metres of her ride, besting everybody else by a minute.
A great ride from Henderson put her firmly in pole position, but with 3 riders to come in the form of Hayley Simmons, Hannah Barnes and defending champ Alice Barnes, there was a bit of a nervous wait. Henderson finished off 56 seconds clear of Dixon in second and Loudon in third place to secure a first national champion's jersey for the Welsh rider.
I'm really happy. I really wasn't expecting it today because, yeah, just some of the form out there at the moment. Yeah, I looked at the women's tour last week and there was 5 girls in the top 10. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a really strong field. But yeah, I'm really happy to come away with the win today.
So day 1 of the national championships was now over, with 4 champions being crowned. Next up, the National Circuit Race Championships. Really pleased to say I'm joined here in Lincoln now by former National Circuit Race champion and former winner of the Lincoln GP as well, Dean Downing. Dean, great to see you. We'll talk about your speciality in a second. Let's just reflect, though, on those time trials. Dominant performances, both in the men's and the women's race.
Yeah, great performances by Ethan and Anna, and great to see the stripes at World Tour level in the time trial. So the course was a hard course, and from what I understand, it was very windy yesterday as well. So potentially their strengths came through, as well as both World Tour riders. So yeah, great performances.
I mean, great all round for the Hayter family, because Leo Hayter, Ethan's younger brother, won the under-23s. So yeah. I mean, they are pretty special, that family.
Yeah, he's had a great end of the season as well, winning the Liège Bastogne Liège under-23s. So great for Dad and Mum. So yeah, they must be very proud of the boys.
Let's talk about the crit races. The men's and women's are going around this. We think it's around about a 900-metre circuit here, high up in Lincoln. Let's talk about the cobbles, because they're not like Paris-Roubaix or, you know, Flanders, but they're going to take their toll.
Yeah, this is part of the Lincoln Grand Prix circuit as well, so the finish line is the same finish line, but this is the only stretch what we have here. There's quite tough cobbles, and it's slightly uphill onto smooth cobbles, and there's a little bit of cobbles and faster downhill down the back. Nothing steep, but just slightly downhill.
Dean, good stuff. Let's hear now from some of the men and women who are racing on this circuit.
A proper city centre crit is always something to get up for. A national championships is also something to get up for. But also, you know, being floodlit, you know, there's different atmosphere, special atmosphere. And after the 18 months everyone's had, we need this race. So yeah, I think everyone's pretty buoyant and excited.
One of the best parts of criterium racing is like the huge crowds, because I think it's a 900-metre circuit tonight. So yeah, I think the crowds will be good, and it just gives you such a big boost and like adrenaline rush. Yeah.
I think it'll be quite an open race, and it's just a case of seeing how like the first 20 minutes pans out, how everyone is, how the legs are, and then we'll go from there. And hopefully we've got a strong team, so we'll be able to take it on.
I like the cobbled finish. I think it'll be important to kind of get into that bit first, and then yeah, you should be all right for the sprint. I think
it's a local circuit. It's crit racing, which is really sort of up my street. So it's just going to be hard, I think, and it's going to be about positioning and just keeping it fast and hard tonight.
Like a lot of the times I've come in and I've been kind of putting a bit of pressure on myself as favourite, kind of coming in, and it's kind of nice coming in. No one's talking about me, so you never know. Yeah, I did it 3 years in a row, which was a bit annoying when you. It's nice picking up medals, but it's all about winning that jersey and getting your hands in the air.
It'll be good fun. I'm expecting an action-packed night under the floodlights as well, in the dark, so that'll be good.
I'm only local to here as well, so 30 minutes away, so a lot of friends and family are out, and yeah, if I can do myself proud and them proud, I'll be happy.
It's such an exciting opportunity, so yeah, brush shoulders with some of the biggest names in women's cycling really, and not just in the UK, so really exciting.
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, you don't get many opportunities to race with this sort of standard of riders, so yeah, really excited.
Dean, let's talk about some of the contenders to possibly win on this circuit this evening, starting with the women.
Yeah, Bex Durrell is the last winner of the Crit Champs, and she's not here. Second place was Jo Tindler. She's Lincoln-based. She did really well in the Tour Series, but all the contenders from the Tour Series are here tonight. So,
and using Jo as an example, she's in the Pro Noctis team. Is it going to make a difference, those riders who are in those bigger teams? Because there's going to be a few freelancers, a few lone wolves here tonight. Yeah,
I mean, teamwork always counts in any race, and in criteriums as well. It's a short circuit of 900 metres, and it's quite a tough circuit. But if they can do some work for their team leaders, for example, any team could take control of the race, and that will benefit their team leader that can then go on to win the race.
Let's talk about the men. Joey Walker won it last time. He's back here again. Could he get it 2 times on the trot?
Yeah, he's a contender. He's the British Crit Champ currently, but I've seen some of the World Tour boys are on the list, so that would be interesting if they start. That would be good. But there's again, all the contenders are here from the Tour Series that are here tonight for that. All the pro teams, all the riders. So again, that's going to be a very, very exciting race, and yeah, fingers crossed for Joey that he can take it again.
Yeah, he's a local mate of yours,
yeah,
I know that.
Friend, yeah.
Going to be very interesting, very exciting. Let's have a look at the circuit they're all going to race on now. This 1 kilometre route around the city's historic 11th century castle will host both the men's and the women's races over 1 hour plus 5 laps. The floodlit circuit passes through the cobbled castle square between the cathedral and the castle, and will throw a mix of challenges, including a tricky and technical finish area. And getting a good line into the finish will be key. OK, let's get straight to highlights now of the women's race with your commentary team, Hannah Walker and Matt Stevens.
Jangling nerves on the start line here of the UK Women's National Circuit Race Championships here in the heart of this beautiful city of Lincoln. The flag has been dropped for the first few metres back on the cobbles here in the Market Square, and that lovely Hannah Walker to have you alongside me again for this championships. This is going to be a real feast, isn't it? And a particularly technical circuit, only about 900 metres round, so really a race they're going to have to race from the front.
A fast and ferocious course, and for these riders, haven't had a Criterium National Championships for over 2.5 years, so the riders are going to come out here. They've come off the back of numerous criteriums over the last few months, and this is the big one that they want to win.
It certainly is. It's a tight circuit. It's an anti-clockwise circuit, basically going around the perimeter of this beautiful castle here in the centre of Lincoln. And a rider early on just attacking away. I think if you're caught on the back foot on a race like this, it's very, very difficult to make up ground. It's so technical. There's changes of road surface, there's cobbles, there's sleeping policemen. This circuit has got it all. In addition, the light's going to be fading towards the back end as well.
Along with the added addition of the change in elevation on the course, that you can see this ever so slight downhill sweeping left-hander onto Drury Lane for the riders. So it means on the back end of the course, you have that grippy section which really takes the sting out of the legs.
And it's a section that we know particularly well. I've never actually raced this crit, but having raced the Lincoln Grand Prix, we know that particular section. As you said, really, really sticky. Those cobbles, it's almost like riding uphill. There's a slight elevation, and then there's this really difficult chicane here. This finish is probably one of the most technical I've seen, and you only get sight of the actual finish line with about 20 metres to go.
And you can see the damage that's been done already from the rider from Team LDM Brother UK, already whittling this group down from 59 starters. To me, looks like there's only around 12 riders in this front group.
Well, it's a fast and furious pace that's been set. If you're caught on the back foot, if you do get a bad start, it's so difficult to move up. But as you said, the pace is very, very high. But the person that I have noticed in second position is local rider Jo Tindley. We know she's in good form, riding for the Pro Noctis Red Hill Bikes team. Also coached by Dean Downing, but they've got numerous riders in the front, so the local squad really putting numbers in this front group, and big splits occurring already.
It's impressive to see, isn't it, from the Pro Noctis Red Chili Bikes team, that you can have such strength in numbers. You can see a few riders, notable riders, have missed that move so far. Abby Smith there of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank, just trying to bridge across to this front group.
And Jo Tindley has actually just moved off the front. They're obscured just a little bit by our moto. She's opened up a couple of lengths, carrying a lot of speed into that corner. Well, she's cornering like she's on rails. Thankfully, she avoided that bit of spillage just on the apex of that corner. And Tindley absolutely flying. This is a bold move so early on in the race.
A really audacious ride here from Jo Tindley to take it up so early. She's got a fantastic kick on her with a sprint to the finish, but she wants to take it up early. She knows that there's some strong sprinters within the start tonight, and having come second 3 times in the Tour Series, she knows if she wants to try and take the victory here, she has to do something different.
She certainly has to. As I said before, not a course to be written on the back foot, but big splits, and there's a confirmation of our race leader so far. It's only a slender lead, just a handful of seconds, but corner by corner, metre by metre, she's gradually extending her lead. And she takes a bit of a glance round now. I'm not going to ask you to predict what she's thinking, but do you think this was a plan?
For Tindley, she's wanted this national title for a long time, and as I mentioned before, having taken 3 second places at the Tour Series, you have to change your game plan. Local roads as well, and on this course she will have had the opportunity to come and ride it, to see how she would fare on it, to make sure that she's got the corners dialed, but also, as you can see on this course, out of sight, out of mind, and that plays into her hands.
Well, definitely. It's worth mentioning as well the complete distance. They're going to ride for 1 hour, and once they've completed 1 hour on the circuit, there's 5 laps. So the first part of the race is like an almost unpredictable amount of laps, which adds a bit of a strange element. But as you said, out of sight, out of mind. The longest straight on this circuit, just over 200 metres. Good bit of riding by Gad there on the front for Story Racing, just trying to shut this gap down early. But there you go, that's a real illustration. You are out of sight, but the bunch really starting to stretch out here as the light starts to fade. It is a beautiful setting. The people of Lincoln really love their bike racing, and she's really extending her lead now.
It's a special atmosphere, isn't it, to be racing in Lincoln. The riders love it, the fans love it. It's just a wonderful place and so iconic as well.
Well, the good thing about the solo rider in front, she keeps on glancing around. I don't think she can really believe how much of a gap she's opened, but she's got several teammates who are doing a very good job of blocking. Corin Side being one of them in particular, with the ponytails, making sure she's covering any of the moves. And there's the first time check. We've got 8 seconds, and it looks as if the rider chasing behind is Abby Smith.
Abby Smith of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. She was on that wrong side of the split. She's made a huge effort to get across. Also just noting there is 3 times winner Hannah Barnes of Canyon SRAM, who's made it across as well. So we've got a real select group of riders forming.
Well, Hannah Barnes just drifting to the back of that group, just surrounding that corner in about 6th or 7th place. A few more riders getting on. There's definitely been a lull in the pace, but there's only around 40 riders left in the field. Still a slender lead for Jo Tindley, but she looks very good. Real fluidity here as the light continues to fade, adding that real sense of drama, almost turning into what we call a nocturne now.
It's a surprise to see that the riders have given us so much time. time so early on because of how much of a dangerous rider she is. She's a silver medalist from 2018, let's not forget. So she's one of the most experienced riders within this peloton, and you don't want to give her an inch.
You certainly don't, but they have. They're giving her a bit more than an inch, but it's still only around 6 or 7 seconds. Still Lucy Gadd of Story Racing continuing to do the chasing behind. Hannah Barnes looks pretty relaxed. Real classy rider is Barnes, former national road champion as well. Looks pretty composed, doesn't appear to be panicking just yet.
I think that comes with her experience, doesn't it? That she's able to sit back, not panic, just let the race unfold. At the moment, Lucy Gadd of Story Racing, she's still pursuing the chase on the front, so Barnes just happy to let this race unfold and just wait for her moment and bide her time.
Just noticed also in that group Josie Nelson, but look at this, the gap is really starting to open up as she passes a few more of these lap riders, urged on by a really appreciative crowd. And look at her teammates pretty much bossing and mobbing the front there, and no real reaction. This is getting pretty dangerous now.
You saw the rider from Story Racing in the red and blue jersey with the red helmet, Lucy Gadd. She's trying to entice the riders to come and help her do the chasing.
And Jenny Hall as well from the Tekka CC on the right hand side, just moving through, just trying to add a little bit of impetus. There's that little chicane again. Another lap is done and dusted. The crowd starts to build here, really enjoying what they're seeing. This is spectacular stuff. Well into the closing stages of this Women's National Circuit Race Championships, and still Jo Tindley is our sole leader. The light has almost gone, but look at the brightness here, urged on by the locals. Only a few laps to go from Tindley, and this is a quite magnificent ride by the local hero. 4 laps to go, Hannah.
This is an incredible ride from Jo Tindley. She's been out from more or less the first few laps of the race, and no one has come close to being able to catch her.
Well, this is quite amazing. Commentated on a lot of bike races in my time. Quite a few criteriums. Never seen somebody go from the off in such dominant fashion. But still, there's a lot of composure behind. Hannah Barnes is riding very, very smoothly indeed. But I haven't seen her attack from this group, which is really interesting.
Really surprising. She's come into this race with fantastic form off the back of the Women's Tour, and she has it in her legs. She has it in her to try and bridge this gap, to try and do something. At the moment, the legs must be burning for Tindley, but she has that crowd, the atmosphere cheering and willing her on.
It is absolutely spectacular atmosphere, and the organisers have done a magnificent job lighting this circuit with the floodlights, giving it a real electric atmosphere. She continues to power on. She has not missed a beat as another lap ticks by, straight back through into the square. Urged on by this crowd. This atmosphere is really going to urge her on. 3 laps to go, but she's going to be really feeling that adrenaline now, isn't she?
She's a local rider, having that local support, riding on local roads, but has been in the sport for over 20 years. So it's something that she's wanted to add to her palmarès. As I mentioned before, a silver medal previously, but she's taken this an audacious attack.
It certainly is that, and then some. And if she continues at this rate, we've only got a couple of laps to go. She might actually lap the field. This is absolutely amazing stuff. And of course, she's got her coach here, Dean Downing, with her, who's a former elite male criterium champion. So he knows exactly what to do and how to get the most out of her. But this is something beyond anything we've ever seen her do before.
It's one of the most standout rides I have ever witnessed. It is absolutely incredible to see that she's taken this race on. She's been able to hold her own despite the multiple attacks and chases from this group behind. They've been able to do nothing to the lead of Jo Tindley.
Well, that little group behind with Lucy Gadd of Story Racing, Jenny Hall of Tekkas is in there, Robin Clay of Otley CC as well. But what can they do? This is a quite astonishing performance coming in to the last couple of laps, and I think that crowd has almost doubled inside. They've all left the pubs. They want to see their local hero win on home roads, and now this is her race to lose.
And we're seeing the chasing group behind, that cohesion between them all where they were chasing. It's non-existent now.
It certainly is. Gadd round the corner again for Story Racing. Great riding there by Corinne Side, the teammate of our race leader. Her team have ridden to perfection. They've pretty much marked everybody else out of this. Hannah Barnes still on the right-hand side there. Watch out as well for Abby Smith, still in this group. This is going to be a battle now for the silver medal, because it's only a mistake that's going to stop our race leader, Jo Tindley, of losing this title now.
With a lap and a half to go and the gap over 1 minute, as you say, it's a battle for the silver and bronze medal now for this group.
Well, it is indeed. Abby Smith taking them through with just over a lap to go for the penultimate time. They're coming in to Castle Square. rolling on the front. They know it's for the silver medal, but it's going to be a real battle. The medals are coveted, but the one that everybody wants, and that Jo Tindley is looking like she's going to get, is the bands of national champion. You get to wear it for a year. It really is special to win that title. But a lot of kudos as well in the other medals, and that's the battle now. It's for the silver and bronze, and this could be quite a stressful run into the line.
With such a large group and such a narrow circuit, especially with that jink going into the finish, positioning for that group is going to be key, whilst Jo Tindley, she can just have a safe ride to the finish and concentrate on her efforts and rolling into the finish.
Well, Jo Tindley, to thunderous applause, come through to take the bell. This is almost going to be a victory lap. All she needs to do, Hannah, is stay upright, and she's going to enjoy this one.
She certainly is, and you just saw her coach, Dean Downing, just willing her on, cheering her on, giving that support and encouragement at the side of the road there. But for her, this has been a fantastic ride, head down all the way to the finish.
Well, back in to Westgate. Up Union Street, back down the other side, through the darkness, out into this, this bright light here. An absolutely magnificent race, but what we're looking at behind is the battle for second and third. This cluster of riders here looking very, very good. It's going to be an exciting battle for those second and third places.
Well, it's been a standout ride for Jo Tindley, but we have to say the team of Pro Noctis Red Chili Bikes and the way they have worked throughout this race, Amy Gornall in this chasing group here, making sure she's keeping an eye on the head of affairs, Isabel Darville, along with Corin Side. Absolute standout teamwork, Matt.
Well, this is that penultimate left-hand bend into Drury Lane. Carrying speed into that corner. She takes a perfect line, pedals late, pedals early, should I say. This is where the road starts to rise. She's going to thoroughly enjoy this moment. Meanwhile, just a little bit further up the road, the bunch take the bell. They're nearly a full lap behind, but Jo Tindley is going to take that win. Nothing can stop her now.
This just shows you the magnitude of Jo Tindley's ride tonight at the National Circuit Race Championships. Even another acceleration as she goes towards the finish line.
She rounds the final bend and she crosses the line. She is the Women's National Circuit Race Champion in fine style. What a quite astonishing victory. Just listen to the crowd here in Lincoln. That meant so much.
Well, congratulations are in order. The local rider, the local team, and that will mean a lot to her. She's been trying for many years to take this title, and you can see what it means. Dean Downing close to tears.
Yeah, I don't blame him. A big emotional win there for Dean Downing. This is the group behind battling it out. This is going to be a tight sprint for second place. More congratulations for our race winner, but meanwhile we have got a red-hot sprint hotting up for the final places. Abby Smith of TIBCO Silicon Valley Bank looks if she's going to take this one. Corin Side of Pro Noctis not too far away. It'd be amazing to get two on the podium. It looks if Smith is going to take this one. She rounds the corner. Whoa, and she hits the barrier. She's off, but she gets second place, taking down Corin King in the process. Second and third places on the night crashed. What an absolutely, strange finish to the race. I do hope they're okay. But thankfully, the consolation will be they've got second and third places.
Well, a spectacular finish there from the chasing group behind, but then that awful crash into the barriers. We see both riders just starting to get up, and we do hope, as you say, Matt, they are all okay. But here, the celebrations have already begun for the Pro Noctis team, and the riders coming to congratulate our newly crowned champion.
Well, she looks a little bit overwhelmed, and there is the moment that she crosses the line. She is your National Circuit Race Champion. So the title goes to the local hero Jo Tindley of Pro Noctis Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Klesden. In second, and the silver medal, Abby Smith of Team TIBCO Silicon Valley Bank, and Corin Side, a teammate of the champion, running out the podium in third. Then we have King, Barnes, Nelson, Clay, Darville, Gadd and Hull. But what a day that will live long in the memory of Jo Tindley. Fine victory in amazing circumstances.
For me, it was a case of not taking too many people to the line, because there are better sprinters out there, and I knew that I wanted to try and just break it up as much as I could, but there was absolutely no plan to go as early as I did. And you kind of, once you have that gap, you have to commit to it and hope they start messing around behind. But it went out to about 30 seconds, and then at one point it came down to 18. Yeah. And I was kind of like, can I turn, start ramping it up a bit more? Not even halfway through, because it was an hour's race. And I knew that if I could keep them away for the last sort of 10 minutes, the last 5 laps, that they will start slowing down. And then within that last quarter, we went out to about a minute. So I knew that I had it. I know for a fact that the girls were absolutely working fantastically behind as a team, and I couldn't be any prouder.
So a very entertaining women's race, and coming up, all the very best action from the men.
The tension mounts, just moments to go now before the flag drops on the Men's National Circuit Race Championships. You can almost feel the tension here. Alongside me for the ride, the flag is down, is Adam Blythe. Adam, you're no stranger to success in this race. You've won it, but this particular circuit, very, very technical, made even more interesting by the fact it's in darkness.
Yeah, I mean, we can already see from the start that riders are just fighting to be towards the front. You've got John Mould there on the right, moving up, and I think with this circuit, as you mentioned, Matt, it is crucial to be at the front, and especially in the dark conditions. It's well lit, but still going in and out of the light is tricky, but yeah, a definitely challenging circuit.
Yeah, John Mould on the front there, 3 times a bronze medalist, one of the best criterium races in the UK, in the new colours of Tekkers. This is our first glimpse to get a look at this circuit with the light and shade that you were talking about. The circuit is very well lit. Nobody's riding sunglasses tonight, but there's a real, kind of takes a while, doesn't it, Adam, to adjust to the light and shade on this tight circuit.
Yeah, it definitely does indeed. They'll soon become very used to it, but it's just that, as you say, dark light, and it's just these first couple laps, getting used to the corners, finding your way around the corners, seeing how fast you can go, but you can already see the fight towards the front. Everyone, these are generally the quickest parts of this whole race. There's just riders fighting to be at the front, get in position, and we can see the riders at the front. The distance to that back of the peloton it's a good 15 seconds already with a rider with a problem as well.
Yeah, and that's number 9. That was a Robert Scott of a Canyon DHB, and a bit of a mechanical there. There's a couple of riders now. This is a first glimpse of just coming into the finish line. This is this really nasty chicane. That's Lewis Askey on the front there for Groupama, powering round this corner, really laying it down, and it is so hard to move up, and we've both ridden on this particular section. Those cobblestones are really rough, and I think this has to be the hardest part of the circuit, Adam.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. Coming through that finish, it slowly drags up, and in the road race, which you're referring to, Matt, we carry on over the top, but these riders, a left turn slightly down, but you can already see Lewis Askey towards the front and really just trying to push this tempo on and line things out a bit, make it a little bit easier for positioning with it being so difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Another rider up to the front who's already had a win is none other than Ethan Hayter, sat in about 5th or 6th wheel. Charlie Tanfield is there in 3rd wheel in that blue jersey, just rounding the corner, and already there's some serious gaps appearing. Several riders struggling right at the back. So difficult to move up from this position. This is a very tight circuit, but I do like it. This kind of nocturne atmosphere just adds something special to it, doesn't it?
It's dramatic, isn't it? And you can just see there Harry Tanfield on the left-hand side coming to the front of position now. Harry he's a tall, rangy rider, what you can see, but he's very good at cornering, takes a lot of risks. His weight is evenly spread over his bike, so for him in this race in particular, he'll just want to get on the front, very good at time trialling, and just power on the front and stretch things out as he is doing, and reduce the numbers in that front group, and that is his best way of getting on the podium.
Well, look how long this line is now. It's probably just over 100 metres long as Tanfield powers through this little cobbled chicane here, across the line to the flash bulbs. Great atmosphere building, but Tanfield using that raw power, and he's had some good results in Belgium recently. World Tour rider for Quebec and Nextash, couple of podiums in Comesses, and clearly thriving on this circuit so far.
Yep, and here we go now. Ethan Hayter towards the front, the man that's just won the National Time Trial Championship, so a rider on 5 for him, Askey on his wheel as well, and it's the first time we've really seen World Tour riders for a long time come into this race.
We certainly have. Well, a rider just moving up on the left there. It looks like a bit of an attack here from Charles Page of Ribble Weltite. Just adjusts his position on the bike, takes that corner at speed. Nice little bit of cornering, opens up a small gap, and this group fracturing all the time now as Page opens up a nice little gap heading into Drury Lane.
Yeah, it seemed like the emphasis in the group there just came out of it a little bit, but you can see Tanfield towards the front. Oh, and a crash there in the peloton, another rider down, and that is not going to help these riders at all, trying to move up into position. We've seen how key it is to be at the front, and that little fracture there. Ethan Hayter just trying to get on terms with those 3 riders in front of him.
Well, Ethan Hayter having to close the gap there. Charlie Tanfield looking round, and that has wreaked havoc. I mean, unbeknownst to the rider out in front, Page looking good. Didn't know anything about the chaos that ensued behind, but this is causing some big splits. Hayter just rounds that corner, out of the saddle, back on the power. A dramatic race, but that's what city centre racing is like. There are thrills and there are spills. It's a dangerous game when the riders are right on the edge, aren't they? Especially in the corners.
Yep, definitely in the corners. You can just see this group now coming together, and this is perfect for the light of Harry Tanfield, the rider on the front now, and he's got his brother 2 wheels behind him, Charlie Tanfield, and Ethan Hayter just still trying to come across, still trying to get on terms. The riders are still trying to get back to him. You can see Ollie Wood there from Canyon DHB in the background just trying to respond to this, but the camera does not do it justice how fast these riders are going.
You can just see Hayter still hasn't quite made contact. It can take so long to get back in. There's the couple of riders from Canyon DHB that you just talked about. Wood accelerating around that corner, and this is a long turn on the front by Harry Tanfield, but he's one of those riders with such a big engine that he's willing to press on in front. This is the race leader, Tanfield, Askey, Page, Hayter and the brother Tanfield, so 2 brothers in this front group, and Hayter still not quite on the back of this group.
No, still not on the back, but just glancing over his shoulder there, seeing what's happening behind, and I think Harry knows exactly what he's doing here. This group is going to go away. He's trying to make it go clear, so just doing that extra long turn on the front, not asking for any assistance, just driving this pace forward. It's a lot easier with 5 guys towards the front. They can slowly share the workload between them, and that will make their lives easier for positioning, not having to fight with people going into corners. So for the likes of Harry Tanfield and his attributes, this is absolutely perfect.
It certainly is. Just remember the distance today, 1 hour of racing. Once 1 hour of racing is up, we have 5 more laps at the top, so it should equate to about an hour and 8 minutes of racing in all. But this is spectacular stuff, and this 5-man group now have a 7-second lead on the chasers, and the most important thing is that there's cohesion here. Everybody is working hard. Another little glance around and they have got daylight, or shall I say evening light, in between them.
Yep, they have indeed, and Hayter now just on the back, just recovering a little bit, letting those gaps go. This is typical Ethan Hayter, the way that he rides, just staying safe and letting that wheel go a little bit and just being cautious really. But that gap towards the front, you see the DHB riders moving up, they don't have time to mess around. If they want to bring this back, they have to do it very quickly.
It's Wood on the front. I don't know whether they're actually chasing or trying to slow things down. Remember, they do have Charlie Tanfield in this front group, so it won't be more a pursuit. He's just keeping that pace high, but Tanfield cornering well. Bit of an overlap there, and it appears to me that Hayter's just knocking it back a little bit after that crash earlier, perhaps riding a little bit more conservatively, just trying to stay safe.
Yep, just trying to stay safe, and ultimately what he's doing now as well is he's letting riders go in front of him, so he's not actually yet done a turn on the front. There's been a full rotation at the front and he's still sat on the back another lap later. It's not going to be long before the riders are aware of that and they push towards the front and say, no, you've got to come to the front now, you need to give us a hand. But you know, Hayter's riding a brilliant race and his results recently show the form he's in, and the riders will be aware of that and they'll quickly get him to the front, I'm sure.
Our 5-man breakaway then, working as a real tight unit. Charlie Tanfield, Lewis Askey on the front there, Charles Page, Ethan Hayter and Harry Tanfield. I must admit, Adam, I've been very impressed with the way they've worked together as one cohesive unit, which is so important on a course like this.
It definitely is indeed, and it looks to be that they're all doing the same amount on the front. They're all swinging off at the same point on the lap. I think as they get close to the finish, they'll try and do less, try and force people to the front a little bit more, ultimately to save their energy. But they've been working well together, the gap's established. Now it's all just about the attack before the finish or the sprint.
There certainly is. Askey there, just checking. That really is a technical corner. And when you're descending, or not descending, or cornering quick on cobbles, the bike drifts out a lot more. And that's something you've really got to be aware of, isn't it? The speed and pace you carry into those corners on pavé.
Yeah, you almost skip over the pavé, and especially on a corner, you can skip over it. And if you pedal, if your weight's not distributed correctly over your bike, you can just lose that 1 or 2 pedal strokes. And when you're kicking out of these corners, when it's so crucial to not waste energy, it can make a big difference.
It certainly can. Well, that is the chase group really riding hard here. That Canyon DHB in the blue, doing a lot of chasing behind it. They don't seem to be making too much of impression on our 5 leaders. Great atmosphere here in Lincoln as they head through into Market Square for another time. I do love crit racing with this sort of atmosphere. It really does urge them on, and it's great for the morale, isn't it? And you get these real big adrenaline dumps as well.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I think being in the night, it adds to the drama. It's absolutely fantastic and amazing to race around a stadium at night almost, and Harry Tanfield back on the front once again.
Deep now into the closing stages of the Men's National Circuit Race Championships, and Adam, this group have really carved out the lead. Tanfield, Askey, Page, Hayter and the other Tanfield all looking good.
All looking very good indeed, and all sharing the workload now. No one's been really missing too many turns. Tanfield has been dominant on the front, and yeah, with 5 laps remaining now, I think it's going to come from this group. It's just how it is going to be won. Ethan Hayter probably the fastest in that group, and the other riders, the 2 Tanfield brothers especially, they have a big long range effort, so maybe we will see an attack from either of those brothers a little bit further out from the finish.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is the remnants of the chase. Probably only about 20 riders left, but they're 51 seconds adrift, as we saw by the time gap there. Just rocketing down back into the finishing area. The clock continues to tick, so it does look as if, well, nothing can really be done about the 5 riders out in front. But as you said, they're all very different riders, different attributes, and they're going to have to really think about the way they win this race. There's some explosive riders, some riders that like to go long. We've got 2 brothers. That's going to add a little bit of spice to the proceedings, so they've really got to start thinking about how they win this race.
Yeah, I think so as well, and just the way that Tanfield has been cornering, he's been cornering super quickly, so he'll probably try and use that to his advantage. We've seen Hayter throughout the race just letting those gaps go a little bit, maybe not as confident, maybe just taking a little bit of caution, but for me, you know, he's the fastest one in this group. Askey as well, he's got a very fast finish on him. It's just who starts it first, and whoever starts it is going to open up a box of tricks almost for the other riders to enable them to attack.
They certainly are. Well, Hayter on the front, clearly he'll be thinking about how can he get another national title. Ready, the time trial champion, on his wheel there, just heading through this little chicane. This is going to be very, very complicated. We saw in the women's race how dicey this can be when going for a sprint, and that's going to be surely something that's going to play on their mind about what line to take, what time to get to the front as well.
Yeah, it's definitely before that last corner, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
And I think the sprint will ultimately start at the bottom of that left-hand corner where they whiz down the hill, take that left hand around the corner as this peloton, the chasing group, is just about to come into now. I think ultimately on this downhill, big risks into the corner and then just opening your sprint up from there is where it's going to start. And if you leave it any later, really, unless you've got amazing legs, maybe that a couple of riders have, it is going to be difficult to get past. It does drag up ever so slightly, but it's going to be a hard-fought finish, this one.
Well, we've got the hour of racing done, as you saw. We're well into the closing stages now. We're into the final 5 laps, and another corner's rounded. Bright light there. And Tanfield doing a lot of work on the front. He is one of those riders, a real workhorse, isn't he? A likeable lad, a Yorkshire lad, but real grafter. But as we've seen before, highly skilled as well, especially for a time trial. You don't normally see highly skilled TT riders, but he can really nail those corners.
Yep, he definitely can indeed. And I think that he doesn't want too much of a slowing of the speed. He'll want the speed to be kept high so he is able to accelerate already from that high speed. I think if it slows down too much for him, the reactions of the likes of Hayter sprinting, I think they've got that initial kick on him, so he is not going to want the speed to slow down too much. So that's probably why we're seeing him on the front so much, to trying to keep that pace high to enable him to react to attacks easier rather than being it slower and being more difficult for him. The same with Charlie, I think, his brother number 11 there, second towards the back.
Well, there we go, 3 laps to go now, and Tanfield, I think out of all of the riders in this group, he finally swings off and lets another rider do a bit of a turn on the front. Charles Page from Ribble Weldtite, good to see him in the mix as we look way back down the circuit. Still hovering at around 50 seconds, but it is the minor placings for this group. But Canyon, DHB, Songod still have a couple of riders in this group, only around 12 riders left. This course and the pace it's been ridden at, the conditions too, really attritional.
Definitely indeed, and there's not much recovery throughout the whole course, and the straights aren't long enough really to be able to put down the power and make that massive difference. It's just about being consistent with your speed and the power of being able to deliver it through 1 or 2 laps, and that's why we saw that group go away. It was in touching distance for a little bit, but these riders were just not able to bridge that gap through the speed that those 5 riders in the front were making.
Well, back through the chicane, this is the chasing group still being led by the riders from Canyon, and up in front, around about 3/4 or 2/3 of a lap in front now, we have Askey leading Tanfield, 3rd place Hayter, the other Tanfield just at the back there in that white jersey. And then the outlier for me is Charles Page. I mean, he's the least known of these riders, clearly riding very well, but he, for me, could be a bit of a dark horse here.
Yeah, I think he is as well. It just looks to be sort of noticeable that the pace has just backed off ever slightly. Coming into the finish, getting ready for those cat and mouse games to start. The riders will start watching each other, maybe missing a turn a little bit, but I'm with him. I think that Charles Page, 2 laps to go, is a little bit of a dark horse, and unknown to these riders as well. They won't know necessarily his attributes.
Oh, definitely. Very, very interesting, and they've definitely backed off just a little bit, clearly thinking about the last couple of laps. We're well into 2 laps to go now, so that's under 2 kilometres. This is a very, very short, tight circuit, anti-clockwise. Hayter now on the front, back to the chasing group, still keeping a good pace as they round that really fast corner into Drury Lane. There was a little bit of water on that corner earlier on. Thankfully, that has now dried up.
Tanfield
he's winding it up here. You're right, Adam. That was a big, big move. Didn't telegraph. That's the place to go from. Accelerates, carries a lot of pace into that corner. Good move by Charlie Tanfield.
Very good move, but Hayter, he was already on the front and just reacting to it immediately, straight onto that wheel, no messing about, not letting that gap go out. He knows how difficult it is with these corners and short straights to be able to bring something back. So for him, he's just got to the front and neutralising it, making sure an attack doesn't go up the road. And to me, that screams that Ethan Hayter wants it to be a little bit of a sprint, maybe.
Well, Charlie Tanfield cornering just as well as his brother. They're opening up another couple of lengths, but Hayter very calm. But look at this now. Page has gone straight, a textbook move from Page, who's flanked immediately by Lewis Askey.
Yep, Askey straight on his wheel there, but Page with a lap to go now, coming into the bell lap. So one more lap of this circuit and just opening up a slight gap there just through the chicane there. Ethan Hayter in third wheel, just 1 or 2 metres behind these corners. You can't go that fast around, so if you're willing to take a risk, you can open up a little bit more of a gap through the corner. 1 lap to go then in this, the Men's National Circuit Race Championships. Another one of those beautiful iconic jerseys up for grabs, but the big question, who is it going to be? Askey has stole a little bit of a march around this left-hander, forcing Page now to engage in the chase. Just look at the body language of Askey, trying to force as much power out of that bike as possible. Quite remarkable to see. Total 100% determination. Yeah, and look at that, Harry Tanfield straight on it, coming past Ethan Hayter, just trying to bring him back a little bit. He will take these risks. We've talked about how good he is on the corners, and he will be able to claw back a metre or 2, but this is it now, coming down into this finish. There's one more corner, so Tanfield probably run at the back of him through the corner and then just start his sprint as soon as he comes out of that last corner there.
Yeah, I think you're right, but Tanfield happily pursuing now. Well, not about happily, but it's managed to get back onto the wheel of Askey, carrying that speed round Drury Lane for the final time. We're coming into the finishing straight now. It looks as if Page has been gapped, but on the left-hand side, Askey goes. Askey now winding things up on the wheel, sorry, should I say, of Tanfield. Tanfield now grits his teeth, but on the inside, oh, Hayter looks like he's just about gone through the inside into that final chicane. What a move by Ethan Hayter. It looks like he's going to take it. He is. Hayter makes it title number 2. Tanfield in second, Askey in third. What an almost magical, supernatural move by Ethan Hayter.
Unbelievable, timed it to perfection there, just come around the last minute, didn't interrupt Harry Tanfield's line whatsoever, just came past him quickly into that chicane, was able to get the race in line, and when you get into that last chicane, nobody's coming past you. Brilliant, brilliant riding by Ethan Hayter.
Well, his second title in as many days. Took the time trial on the Thursday. Friday now, he is the Criterium or the Elite Circuit Race Champion as well. This is the battle for the minor placings. It's all about positioning, as we know very well, Adam, into that final little chicane. Very difficult to move up in these last couple of corners. And I think that's Bostock that gets 6th place there for Canyon DHB Sundgaard. Good ride by him. 2 riders at least in the top 10 for that squad. But what can you say about this man? Absolutely sublime. So Ethan Hayter takes the title for Team Ineos Grenadiers. In second place on the silver medal, that goes to Harry Tanfield of Team Quebec and Nextash. And third, rounding out the podium, Lewis Askey of Equipe Cycliste Continental Groupama, followed by Tanfield, Page, Bostock, Tidball, Wales, Roberts and Mundy. And I can tell you what, it was smiles all round. 2 jerseys from 2, his second title in just as many days. Smiles all round as well from Harry Tanfield of Team Quebec, enjoying his bubbly moment.
Luckily I was in the top 3 at the time, so just kept riding. I was just with my brother at the front, so we just kept on riding and looked round, and there was like a big gap, so we just got on the front, and it was close in the end, but I think the better man won, so I can't complain.
Dean and I have been joined here on the start-finish line by the brand new National Crit Racing champion, Ethan Hayter. Really good race, Ethan. That's 2 and 2 for the jerseys, having won the time trial as well. Just describe how the race went for you this evening there.
It was obviously such a technical circuit that was flat out from the start, everyone fighting for position, and I managed to stay in the top 10. Obviously, I think people were a little bit scared to dive bomb me at times, a little bit more respect, which is quite nice. And, yeah, there was the first 15 minutes was flat out, and then one guy crashed on the downhill corner.
Yeah.
And it took me a bit I had to hit the brakes quite hard to avoid him, obviously, and that was a bit of adrenaline rush, and then I made it across to this front group and looked back, and we were gone.
Makes it sound so easy. And it wasn't at all, Dean. Really strong race and win for Ethan as well, and Joe Tindley earlier on. Really great night's entertainment.
Yeah, two very different races. Joe attacked pretty much from the gun and solo to victory, and then, like Ethan said, there was 5 strong riders there, World Tour riders. They all look like they're enjoying themselves back on a criterium, and it is very tight, but what a great, fantastic victory for Ethan. 2 out of 2.
Pressure is on, Dean. Thanks very much indeed. Ethan, congratulations to you. As we said, 2 in 2 at the time of recording. Could he get the road race? We'll find out. For now, thanks both very much indeed, and thanks to you for watching. Bye-bye.